My name is Bella. My student number is S0441017. Amy Cuddy speech. Your body language shapes who you are. I'm a freshman at NCUE. So I want to start it by offering you a free no-tech life hack. And all it requires of you is this, that you change your posture for 2 minutes. But before I give it away, I want to ask you to right now do a little audit of your body and what you are doing with your body. So how many of you are short of making yourself smaller? Maybe you are hunching, crossing your legs, maybe wrapping your ankles. Sometimes we hold onto our arms like this. Sometimes we spread out. I see you, so I want you to pay attention to what you are doing right now. We are going to come back to that in a few minutes. And I'm hoping that if you learn to tweak this a little bit, it could significantly change the way your life unfolds. So, we are really fascinated with body language, and we are particularly interested in other people's body language. We are interested in, an awkward interaction, or smile, or contemptuous glance, or maybe a very awkward wink, or maybe even something like a handshake. Narrator. Here they are arriving at number 10. This lucky policeman got to shake hands with the President of the United States. Here comes the Prime Minister. No. So a handshake, or the lack of handshake, can have us talking for weeks and weeks and weeks. Even the BBC and the New York Times. So obviously, when we think about nonverbal behavior or body language, but we call it nonverbals as social scientists. It is a language, so we think about communication. When we think about communication, we think about interactions. So what is your body language communicating to me? What's mine communicating to you? And there's a lot of reasons to believe that is a very valuable way to look at this. So social scientists have spent a lot of time looking at the effects of our body language or other people's body language on judgments. And we make sweeping judgments and inference from body language. And those judgments can predict really meaningful life outcomes like who we hire or promote, who we ask out on a date. For example, now Lily and Body, a research at Tufts University, shows that when people watch 30-second soundless clips of real physician-patient interactions, their judgments of the physician's niceness predict whether or not that physician will be sued. So it doesn't have to do so much with whether or not that physician was incompetent. But do we like the person and how they interact? Even more dramatic, Alex Tondorf at Princeton has shown us that judgments of political candidates faced in just 1 second predict 7% of U.S. states and gubernatorial race outcomes, and even let go digital emoticons used well in online negotiations can lead you to claim more value from that negotiation. If you use them properly, bad idea, right? So, when we think of nonverbals, we think of how we judge others, how they judge us, and what the outcomes are. We tend to forget, though, the other audience that's influenced by our nonverbals, and that's ourselves. We are also influenced by our nonverbals, our thoughts, and our feelings, and our physiology. So what nonverbals am I talking about? I'm a social psychologist. I study prejudice, and I teach at a competitive business school. So it was inevitable that I would become interested in power dynamics. I became especially interested in nonverbal expressions of power and dominance. And what are nonverbal expressions of power and dominance? Well, that is what they are. So in the animal kingdom, They are about expanding. So you make yourself big. You stretch out. You take up space. You're basically opening up. It is about opening up. And it is true across the animal kingdom. It is not just limited to primates, and humans does the same thing. So they do this both when they are power short of coherently, and also when they are feeling powerful in the moment. And this one is especially interesting because it really shows us how universal and all those expressions of power are. These expressions, which is known as pride, Jessica Chase has studied. She shows that people who are born with sight and people who are congenitally blind do this when they win at the physical competition. So when they cross the finish line and they are won, it doesn't matter if they are never seen anyone do it. They do this. So the arms up in the V and the chin is slightly left. What do we do when we feel powerless? We do exactly the opposite. We close up. We wrap ourselves up. We make ourselves small. We don't want to bump into the person next to us. So again, both animals and humans do the same thing. And this is what happens when you are put together high and low power. So what we tend to do when it comes to power is that we complement the other's nonverbals. So if someone is being really powerful with us, we tend to make ourselves smaller. We don't mirror them. We do the opposite of them. So I'm watching this behavior in the classroom. And what do I notice? I notice that MBA students really exhibit the full range of power nonverbals. So you have people who are like caricatures of alphas really come into the room. They got right into the middle of the room before class even starts, like they really want to occupy space. When they sit down, they are sort of spread out. They raise their hand like this. You have other people who are virtually collapsing when they came in. As soon as they came in, you see it. You see it on their face and their bodies. And they sit in their chair and they make themselves tiny. And they go like this when they raise their hand. I noticed a couple of things about this. One, you are not going to be surprised. It seems to be related to gender. So women are much more likely to do this kind of thing than men. Women feel chronically less powerful than men, so that is not surprising. But the other thing I noticed is that it also seemed to be related to the extent to which the students were participating, and how well they were participating. And it is really important in MBA classroom because participation counts for half the grade. So business schools have been struggle with this gender grade gap. You get those equally qualified women and men coming in, and then you'll get these differences in grades, and it seems to be partly attributable to participation. So I started to wonder, okay, so you have those people coming in like this, and they are participating. Is it possible that we could get people to fake it, and would it lead them to participate more? So my main collaborator, Dana Carney, who is at Berkeley, I really wanted to know, can you fake it till you make it? Like, can you do this just for a little while and actually experience a behavioral outcome that makes you seem more powerful? So we know that our nonverbals govern how other people think and feel about us. There's a lot of evidence, but our question really was, do our nonverbals govern how we think and feel about ourselves? There are some evidence that they do. So, for example, we smile when we feel happy, but also when we are forced to smile by holding a pen in our teeth like this, it makes us feel happy. So it goes both ways. When it comes to power, it also goes both ways. So when you feel powerful, you are more likely to do this, but it is also possible that when you are pretend to be powerful, you are more likely to actually feel powerful. So the second question really was, So we know that our minds change our bodies, but it isn't also true that our bodies change our minds? And when I say minds, in the case of the powerful, what am I talking about? I'm talking about thoughts and feelings and the sort of physiological things that make up our thoughts and feelings, and in my case, that is hormones. I look at hormones. So what do the minds of the powerful versus the powerless look like? So powerful people tend to be, not surprisingly, more assertive and more confident, more optimistic. They actually feel they are going to win even at games of chance. They also tend to be able to think more abstractly. So there are a lot of differences. They take more risks. There are a lot of differences between powerful and powerless people. Physiologically, there are two differences on two key hormones. Testosterone, which is dominance hormone, and cortisol, which is the stress hormone. So what we find is that high-power alpha males in primate hierarchies have high testosterone and low cortisol. And powerful and active leaders also have high testosterone and low cortisol. So what does that mean? When you think about power, people tend to think only about testosterone because that was about dominance. But really, power is also about how you react to stress. So do you want the high power leader that is dominant, high on testosterone, but really stress reactive? Probably not, right? You want the person who is powerful and assertive and dominant, but not very stress reactive, the person who is laid back. So we know that in primate hierarchies, if an alpha needs to take over, if an individual needs to take over an alpha role short of suddenly, within a few days, that individual's testosterone has gone up significantly and his cortisol have dropped significantly. So we have this evidence, both that the body can shape the mind at least the level as at the facial level, and also the role change can shape the mind. So what happens? Okay, you take a role change. What happens if you do that at a real minimal level, like this tiny manipulation, this tiny intervention? For 2 minutes, you say, I want you to stand like this, and it's going to make you feel more powerful. So this is what we did. We decided to bring people into a lab and run a little experiment. And these people adopted for 2 minutes, either high power poses or low power poses. And I'm just going to show you 5 of those poses, although they took on only 2. So here is one, a couple more. This one has been dubbed the Wonder Woman by media. Here are a couple more. So you can be standing or you can be sitting. And there are the low power poses. You are folding up. You are making yourself small. This one is very low power. When you are touching your neck, you are really protecting yourself. So this is what happens. They come in. They spit into a vial for 2 minutes. We say, you need to do this or this. They don't look at pictures of the poses. We don't want to prime them with a concept of power. We want them to be feeling power. So Punemas, they do this. We then ask them, how powerful do you feel? On a series of items, and then we give them an opportunity to gamble. And then we take another silver sample. That's it. That's the whole experiment. So that is what we find, risk tolerance, which is the gambling. We find that when you are in the high power poses condition, 86% of you will gamble. When you are in the low power poses condition, only 60%, and that is while hoping significant differences. Here is what we find on test storm. From their baseline when they came in, high power people experience about a 20% increase, and low power people experience about a 10% decrease. So again, 2 minutes, and you get those changes. Here's what you got on cortisol. High power people experience about a 25% decrease, and the low power people experience about 15% increase. So 2 minutes lead to these hormone changes that configure your brain to basically to be either assertive, confident, and comfortable, or really reactive, and feeling short of shut down. And we have all had the feeling, right? So it seems that our nonverbals do govern how we think and feel about ourselves. So it's not just others, but it's also ourselves. Also, our bodies change our minds. But the next question, of course, is can powerful posing for a few minutes really change your life in meaningful ways? This is in a lab. It is little task. It's just a couple of minutes. Where can you actually apply this? Which we care about, of course. And so we think where you want to use this is evaluative situation, like social threat situations, where you are being evaluated, either by your friends. For teenagers, it is at lunchroom table. For some people, it is speaking at a school board meeting. It might be giving a pitch or giving a talk like this or doing a job interview. We decided that the one that most people could relate it to be because most people had been enough was the job interview. So we published those findings, and the media are all over it. And they say, okay, so this is what you do when you go in for a job interview, right? You know, so we were, of course, horrified and said, oh my God, oh, that is not what we mean at all. For numerous reasons, no, don't do that again. It is not about you talking to other people. It is you talking to yourself. What do you do before you go into a job interview? You do this. You are sitting down. You are looking at your iPhone or your Android, not trying to leave anyone out. You are looking at your notes. You are hunching up, making yourself small, when really what you should be doing maybe is this, like in the bedroom, right? Do that. Find 2 minutes, so that's what we want to test, okay? So we bring people into a lab, and they do either high or low power poses again. They go through a very stressful job interview. It is 5 minutes long. They are being recorded. They are being judged also, and the judges are trained to give no non-verbal feedback, so they look like this. Imagine this is a person interviewing you. So for 5 minutes, nothing at least is worse than being handcuffed. People have this. It is what Marilyn Lanfranc calls standing in social quicksand. So this really spikes your cortisol. So this is the job interview we put them through, because we really wanted to see what happened. We then have those courts look at those tabs, 4 of them. They are blinding to the physiologists. They are blind to the conditions. They have no idea who is being posing in that pose. And they are ended up looking at those sets of types, and they say, we want to hire those people, all the high-power poses. We don't want to hire those people. We also evaluate those people much more positively overall. But what's driving it is not because the content of the speech. It's about the present that they are bringing to the speech, because we ran them on all those variables related to competence, like how well structured is the speech, how good is it, what are their qualifications. No effect on those things. That is what's affected. Those kind of things. People are bringing their true selves. Basically, they are bringing themselves. They bring their ideas, but as themselves, with residue over them. So that is what driving the effect, or meditating the effect. So, when I tell people about this, that our bodies change our minds, and our minds change our body, and change our behavior, and our behavior can change our outcomes, they say to me, it feels fake, right? So I said, fake it till you make it. It's not me. I don't want to get there and still feel like a fraud. I don't want to feel like an imposter. I don't want to get there only to feel like I'm not supposed to be here. And what really resonated with me, because I want to tell you a little story about being an imposter and feeling like I'm not supposed to be here. When I was 19, I was in a really bad car accident. I was thrown out of a car, rolled several times. I was torn from a car, and I woke up in a head-injury rehab. And I had been withdrawn from college. I learned that my IQ had dropped by 2 standard deviations, which was very traumatic. I knew my IQ because I had identified with being smart. I had been called gifted as a child. So I'm taken out of college. I keep trying to go back. They say, you are not going to finish college, just there are other things for you to do, but that's not going to work out of you. So I really struggle with this, and I have to say, having your identity taken from you, your core identity, and for me it was being smart. Having that taken from you, there is nothing that leaves you feeling more powerless than that. So I feel entirely powerless. I work, and I got lucky, and work, and got lucky, and work. Eventually, I graduated from college. It took me 4 years longer than my peers, and I convinced someone, my angel advisors, Susan Freaky, to take me on. So I ended up at Princeton, and I was like, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm an imposter. And the night before my first year's talk, and at the first year talk at Princeton is a 20 minutes talk to 20 people. That's it. I was so afraid of being found out of the next day that I called her and said, I'm quitting. She was like, you are not quitting because I took a gamble on you. And you are staying. You are going to stay. And this is what you are going to do. You are going to fake it. You are going to do every talk that you ever got asked to me. You are just going to do it and do it and do it. Even if you are terrified and just paralyzed and having an out-of-body experience till you have this moment where you say, oh my gosh, I'm doing it. Like, I have become this. I'm actually doing this. So that's what I did. 5 years in grade school. A few years, I'm at Northwestern. I moved to Harvard. I'm at Harvard. I'm not really thinking about it anymore, but for a long time I had been thinking, not supposed to be here. So at the end of my first year at Harvard, a student who had not talked in class the entire semester, who I had said, look, you have gonna participate or else you are going to fail, came into my office. I really don't know her at all. She came into totally defeated and she said, I'm not supposed to be here. And that was the moment for me. Because 2 things happened. One was that I realized, oh my gosh, I don't feel like that anymore. I don't feel that anymore, but she does. And I got that feeling. And the second was, she is supposed to be here. Look, like she can fake it, she can become it. So I was like, yes, you are. You are supposed to be here. And tomorrow you are going to fake it. You are going to make yourself powerful and And you are going to go into the classroom and you are going to give the best comment ever. And she gave the best comment ever, and people turned around and were like, "Oh my God, I didn't even notice her sitting here." She comes back to me months later and realized that she had not just faked it till she made it, she has actually faked it till she became it. So she had to change it. And so I want to say to you, don't fake it till you make it, fake it till you become it. Do it enough until you actually become it and internationalize. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is this. Tiny tweaks can lead to big change. So that is 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Before you go into the next stressful, evaluative situation for 2 minutes, try doing this. In the evaluator, in the bedroom still, at your desk behind closed door. That is what you want to do. Configure your brain to cope the best in that situation. Get your testosterone up. Get your crystal down. Don't leave that situation feeling like, oh, I didn't show them who I am. Leave the situation feeling like, I really feel like I got to stay who I am and show who I am. So I want to ask you first, both to try power posing, and also I want to ask you to share the science because this is simple. I don't have ego involved in this. Give it away, share it with people, because the people who can use it the most are the ones with no resources and no technology, and no status and no power. Give it to them because they can do it in private. They need their bodies, privacy, and 2 minutes, and it can significantly change the outcomes of their lives. Thank you.